Okay, so Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie. So I just want to say, I want to admit, so I have not actually played Five Nights at Freddy's, and I know that's kind of weird for me to say. So I'm doing this review off of not knowing anything really about the game. This is just the view from somebody that doesn't know anything about the game. What did I think of it as a movie? So the story revolves around this guy named Mike. He has been pretty much left with his sister. His parents have passed, and he's a lot older than his younger sister, and he's pretty much taking care of her. And he's in danger of losing custody of her to his evil aunt, pretty much. And he needs to get a job, and he has kind of he's got some anger issues, I guess. And that's one thing that actually bothered me, because it kind of established that he has maybe some anger issues, maybe some mental health things that he needs to work through. But I thought that was going to maybe come into play in a more fun way, but it never does. So I was a little disappointed with that, but that's fine. But I will say that this movie starts out actually pretty good. I liked the character of Mike. He seemed realistic. The relationship between him and his sister seemed realistic. It wasn't really cloying. It seemed like a real relationship that someone would have with their younger sister. And you know those really cloying relationships in movies where you're like, yeah, because that's how relationships work. So he just lost his job because he doesn't know how to control his issue, like his anger, I guess. Like he thinks he's a security guard at a mall. And he thinks he sees a kid being abducted, so he just jumps on this guy. And it's like, that's fine, that's good. Because you could jump on the guy and be like, hey, are you this kid's dad? And he can be like, yeah. And he can be like, oh, I'm so sorry. But no, he jumps on this guy into like the fountain, and then he just starts punching him in the face. And you're like, well, you could just like ask real fast. You could jump on him and be like, hey, are you this kid's father? Hey, kid, tell me. And the kid could be like, that's my daddy. But like, maybe figure it out before you start punching the guy. Yeah, but he gets fired. And obviously. Because he almost just murdered someone. Anyway, so he really, really needs a job. And so he goes to a job consultant or whatever those people are. And it's actually Matthew Lillard. And I did not recognize him for the longest time. I was sitting there being just like, da 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 da. And then I was like, oh my gosh, is that Matthew Lillard? I was like, he's so old. And then that made me feel old. And then I kind of cried a little bit. And then I was like, cool. I wonder if he's going to play more of a role in this movie. Probably not. That wouldn't make sense, right? Anyways, so I do want to say, like, this movie, the feeling this movie had, in my opinion, was kind of the feel some of those late 90s, early 2000 movies had. And by that, I mean, so there was like this time where movies, like a premise of a movie would be really corny. Just to give you an example, this isn't the best example, but this is the most recent example I can think of. Not recent, but it's the most recent movie I've watched that made me think about this. The live-action Scooby-Doo movie with Matthew Lillard and Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar. That movie is corny as heck. And it's not like the best movie, but I think the reason why so many people ended up actually kind of liking that movie is because there is something genuine about it. Even though the movie might be a little bit corny, even though the script can be like just, or even like the base of the film is just really corny, really weird. There's like genuine talent that went into it. And that's what this movie made me think of. Because yeah, the premise of this film is really weird, is really corny, but there seems to be some genuine talent that went into it. And maybe even genuine passion that went into it. At least in the beginning part, because the beginning of this movie is a lot better. The character development that we see for our main character, Mike, I think is good. Josh does an awesome job portraying that character and making him extremely likable. The problem with the movie is kind of towards the end. Once it gets to the ending of the film, it does get a little confusing. Like all of a sudden things get a little bit, you're like, oh, okay, like, all right, I will accept this, I guess. There's certain revelations, discoveries the main character has towards the end where you think it would make a bigger difference to them, but it doesn't. Like they figure something out that they've been trying to figure out for years, and they're like, oh, okay, so that's fine. There was one character in this movie where I feel like we gave him a little bit too much credit. Like they were like, we were supposed to feel sorry for them. And it's like, I don't really feel sorry for you. I think you're a bad person. guess I can't say who that is. Don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but there was somebody in this movie, and I don't want to say who it was just in case you guys don't want to know, but there was someone that showed up and I was like, hey! And I can't tell you who it was. I will tell you, it's not a very scary movie. Yeah, I was never scared. Somebody threw a Skittle at me at one point. So I watch movies by myself all the time because, you know, I'm really cool like that. And I was like sitting there, all of a sudden, like something landed on me and it was a Skittle. And I was like, whoever threw this Skittle, I bet that they are my soulmate. Except then when I looked at it, I realized it was like a purple one and I was like, that's trash. But I think actually, for what it is, for what Five Nights at Freddy's is, I think that it was actually decent. I will say one thing though, and this is coming from somebody that has, like I said, has not played the game. So you can dismiss this if you want. I feel like for what the premise of the actual game is, where you're like sitting in this little booth and you're watching these things move, I don't really know why they didn't do more of that. There could have been a couple of scenes of that horror of being stuck in the booth while weird stuff was going on. And there wasn't really a lot of scenes like that. And I don't really know why. There's like some things that are set up there's like some loose ends that are set up and aren't really figured out. I mean, take of that as you will. I think it's enjoyable. It was enjoyable through the first watch. The ending kind of messed it up for me, and I probably wouldn't watch it again because of the ending. I like Josh Hutcherson. I like him. I think he's a cutie pie. I wish he wasn't so short, and then him and I could probably get married. And you just couldn't be tall enough, could you? But that's really all I have for today. What did you guys think about this movie? Did you like it? Are you a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's? The people who really like Five Nights at Freddy's and have played all the games, what is your opinion on it? Because that's what I kind of want to know, because my opinion doesn't really matter because I'm just looking at it from the viewpoint of some little like commoner that knows nothing of the games. Let me know in the comments below. Happy Halloween. If I put this out before Halloween, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Just keep watching movies, keep being scared this Halloween season, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.